This is the Learn to Trade online show where experts talk about their trading journeys and help traders make more money unlocking the world of online Forex, crypto and indices traders. We tell it like you want to hear it. Unfiltered insights, no corners cut. Actions to Wealth and Online Trading Profits trading teams.
Hi guys, I'm Ash Bull and I am a professional trader and investor.
Today we're looking at, we're going to be doing a summary of IFTA Day 2. Now, big days, Ash, big days.
Yeah, they have been big days. It kind of reminds me of the Bali trading retreat in many respects, because there's just content after content after content. Lots of speakers with different angles, really, with kind of looking at similar approaches different approaches, but trying to look at the same type of result. You know, everybody's trying to figure out a good entry, trying to figure out where they get out of the market, and then analyzing kind of behaviors. So it was fascinating, you know, to see the different approaches.
We start on behaviors and risk management today, right?
There was a lot of stuff on risk management and a lot of stuff on behavior. I think the day started with that, actually. Is it Giovanni? Can't remember his surname. Oh, no,
we had the Street Still Smart stuff with David Pandina.
David Pandini,
Tyka Mine on calendar momentum strategy. But behavioural, Buddy Friend did behavioural biases in the market, and he was quite good.
Yes, he was. Actually, David Pandini actually covered a little bit of it. When he started talking about the approach, it was very, very scientific, you know, and kind of breaking down certain parts of why we should mathematically get into the market. But what's really kind of coming through is that the research on everything should really be quite in depth. And as I said yesterday, you know, these guys are very, very highly qualified. And one of the reasons they're qualified is that they've been through this process. But anybody can do this process, and anybody can do a process of elimination. You know, if you go to university, it's not really the subject that is the important bit. It's the fact that you learn to dissect and you learn to draw out the information that you need to, you know, attain the qualification. So that's one really big standout. Everybody here, and there's some amazing mathematicians. That's the other thing that I thought. Sitting in the room, there are some incredible mathematicians. But everybody here has got the same kind of approach to how they come up with their answer. Strip back find the problem, find the problem that they're trying to answer, and then find a way to get a solution to that problem. And it's very, you know, much about analyzing data, analyzing chart patterns, analyzing your behavior, and all things like that. So big theme of the day, I thought, today, mate.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, actually. A couple of things to touch on. Speaker 6 today was Aria Santoso, and he spoke about candlestick recoloring. And look, it's one of those things where at times in the past I've been a bit of a cynic of this kind of stuff, but and he showed a lot of examples from stocks charts that weren't particularly relevant to us. But what I do like is he was coloring the candles based on the trend as opposed to having a candle, you know, gap up and pull back and then be red coloured when it was opening and closing above the previous candle. You know, so he was trend colouring them instead of open and close colouring them. And to be honest, I don't mind that at all. I can see how that makes the chart look a lot simpler, really. Not a big thing in Forex, but certainly more of a thing, an interesting thing in stocks and an interesting thing in Forex, you know?
I agree. And actually, while I was watching him, I made a note. What a fantastic game that would be to play by taking a chart and taking all the colors. That's basically what he's done. He's taken all the colors out of the candle. So every candle is white, whether it's a bullish candle or bearish candle. So every candle is white, and then he adds his own color on top of it. He superimposes his own color. And I thought, what a great game to play, that you could sort of color code every single candle on the chart and have your own key.
You want to make a note of that for when we're teaching candles and IFP?
Sure.
It was quite good fun. I quite like it. Mate, another guy I spoke towards the end was Rolf Wetzer, and he's an ex-IFTA chairman. Talking a little bit about risk management again. Interesting for, you know, he showed us a profitable strategy, and he said, look, it's too bumpy though. So ways you can stop it being so bumpy as you could take out, if you take a losing trade, you don't take the next trade. And if another losing trade, you know, there was various, you know, reduce your risk in certain circumstances, using an EMA as a guideline. Ash, if you've got a winning strategy, do you muck with it?
I don't think so. And actually, what I thought with his approach, the interesting thing about his approach, it was to do with the risk management, and it's trying to smooth out those losing streaks. That's really what he was trying to get to. But the problem was every time he kind of brought up the comparison with just trading the strategy as normal, the trading the strategy as normal way outperformed. So yes, it was a smoother equity curve when you took out the losing streak, but overall, what do you really care about? And really, what you care about is that X. By the time you got to X, it's higher than Y by a substantial amount than any other way to trade. And I think the problem I would have with that is that he's suggesting almost a way to trade which may take longer to get to your goals, and that in itself might start to add some psychological problems to the way you're going to trade and approach things.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Actually, I think everyone in trading knows that drawdowns are hard to trade through, and they're the tough on the psychology, and there's some need to do some skills to work with it. But I personally would find it really hard to deliberately handicap a trading strategy that I had. Agreed. What I might do is have another strategy that hedges a little bit. Trade something that's a little bit different. Try and trade it really well, and so they didn't both go at the same time. But I guess that's not. I'm talking about our approaches trading. I have to, mate. The big gun was up today. John Bollinger. Thoughts on him?
I thought. Do you know what I loved about John Bollinger? And I said this to him is that when I was learning to play music, I went back and I kind of started to learn and research kind of the people that I respected that were before me. And if you think about the Beatles, the way the Beatles became the most influential band in history was that they went and they learned all the classics. They learned Little Richard and Bill Haley. They learned how to play rock and roll. And it meant that then they could take themselves forward, and then they could kind of become pioneers of that in that particular idiom. What John Bollinger did, which I thought was fascinating, was that he took us back through a history of relative strength and momentum. So he picked a specific area in trading, which is to do with momentum, and he mapped back the important actors that changed the way that people thought about momentum, which I thought was brilliant, actually, because you got 45 minutes to impart something on the listeners. That's not easy if you've got a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge behind you. But what he did was give everybody the ability to then go and discover the information for themselves. I don't think anybody else has done that. I don't think anybody else has had that approach. But he's tracked back historically. This is momentum. These are the main actors. Go read up on them if you're interested in this particular area.
And it's 45 minutes. He's given us 45 days of reading, hasn't he? So there's, it is interesting stuff, and I do like his approach. And certainly, he just, with some guys that you just know he's got mastery of his topic. Yes. He just is unflustered and very calm and quite relaxed. Good to watch him present. He really is quite useful. Yes. Mate, anything else from today you want to comment on before we wrap her up?
No, I mean, I think tomorrow is a much lighter day. But one thing I would say is that I think it's been a brilliant event. I think it's been fantastic for networking. It's been really good to sort of speak to other professionals. It's been really interesting to see the way that everybody arrives at their ultimate information and their ultimate result. I think it would be fantastic to come next year, and I would encourage anybody that's interested in trading and maybe sort of taking themselves to the next level. I would encourage people to try as hard as they can to come next year. We're hopefully going to be here, or if it's not in Jakarta, but we're hopefully going to be at IFTA. And I would encourage everybody to do the same if they can get here.
Yeah, mate, I think it's an interesting thing, isn't it, Ash? There's parts of IFTA always which for me are a bit stocky. They get into stocks, they get off stocks I'm really interested in, but you still pick out some really, really cool stuff. And look, I've never been able to make MACD work. Yeah. And Patrick's stuff on MACD and his variations on MACD, he's going to write it down for me so I can get people to code it. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. And again, seeing how John Bollinger uses Bollinger Bands. Only 5 minutes of his presentation, but just magic. And I'll be looking for some of that in the future. So always some really cool stuff. I mean, I got to say, Ash, I started off the session yesterday talking about the meeting with John and the walk to the left. What a nice experience it was. Today I lost my debit card. Spent the whole day looking for it, so it was not as fun day as yesterday.
Yeah.
But my gosh, it's been a good event. So we won't be doing our wrap up tomorrow. We are instead going to fly to Singapore for Ash's event. I think there's still a couple of spots online for Ash's event in Singapore for anyone that wants to do it. And then Monday, back home to the families, mate.
Yep. So wrap it up all on Monday and go and try and recover from the double jet lag. and sit on the plane watching no movies, because it is a bit of a drought right now for entertainment on the planes. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, mate, honestly, this perhaps isn't Learn to Trade Online stuff, but the variety of movies, and particularly movies that are less than 15 years old,
Yeah.
There's still a few of those old classics, but if you want a movie that's been made in the last 5 years, boy, there's not many of those on airplanes anymore, is there?
No, not any quality ones.
You can always download them, Ash. Legally, of course. You can always download them watch them on the plane.
Yeah. So it does mean having my laptop in front of me, which is a bit more uncomfortable. But I won't be doing that, mate. Do you know what? I've got loads to do. I can always I don't like flying. I find it very boring, but I can always entertain myself and get myself through without movies. So I'll be all right.
And mate, and before we get to that, we've got day 3. And while we're not doing a recap of it, Dale Guppy tomorrow morning, one of the highlights of the event for mine, sat next to him yesterday, had a couple of chats with him. They say the networking is just off the hook, right? I do feel as if guys will when have to organise when they're going to have next year. We'll see if we can be here. We'll let you guys know. We'll try and run some kind of promotion to get you along. Ash, thanks for today, mate. We'll see you in an hour. So at dinner, mate.
Sounds good, mate. See you soon. See you guys.
Cheers, mate. See ya. That's a wrap for this episode of the Learn to Trade online show. Keep your charts up and your trade savvy. For more insights, subscribe and catch us next time. See you in the next episode. Stay calm and make good decisions. The Learn to Trade online show is presented for informational and entertainment purposes only. The information presented should not be construed as investment advice. Always consult a licensed professional before making investment decisions. The views and opinions expressed on the Learn to Trade online show are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the show's hosts, guests and sponsors. The Learn to Trade online show, its producers, sponsors and the hosts, Paul Botterill, Simon Williams and Ash Bill, shall not be liable for losses resulting from investment decisions based on information or viewpoints presented on the Learn to Trade online show.